we're talking about work holding. More specifically, we're talking about Vise work holding. And with Vise work holding, that's our Toolex line. We have bought the Toolex line of Vises back 23 years ago. They were a company out of Meadville, Pennsylvania. So we wanted to get out of not out of, but expand our market in work holding products. And so we bought them and brought everything in here to our facility here in Dayton, Ohio.
Something's not right on the sound.
Technical issue here real quick, so you'll just bear with us.
Test.
What are you testing?
See if they can hear.
Oh, can you guys hear?
Not getting any sound. It's those earphones, I'm sure. Let's do it without.
Microphone?
Yeah, or your ear things. Let's go back to the... So we're going to go...
Set up at.
Okay. Can you hear us now?
See, the microphone's not sound beats, it's real tech. That should be real tech.
It's here.
There, right there.
Now you should be good. Headphones. Try it again.
You guys hear us now?
That's okay. That is good.
We're good. Hopefully. My name's Scott Johnson. I'm the regional sales manager for TeCo. Been around for, 25 years this year. TeCo has been around since 1926 here in Dayton, Ohio. We started out making T-slot nuts and bolts, the clamping kits you'll see here. We also do the clamps, step blocks, spring plungers. And about 23 or 4 years ago, we bought the Toolex Vise company out of Meadville, Pennsylvania. And this is our double station vise. We bought it just to expand our work holding capabilities, apart from just clamping kits and nuts, bolts, and washers. And today we're going to go over the Toolex Vise line, how it compares with our competitors, and any other items that you guys might have any questions on. Let me know if you got any concerns or ideas or what may be coming down the pike. Just make sure you unmute yourself, ask the question, or you can type it in if you like. So we'll go ahead and get started. The Toolex Vises are made here in Dayton, Ohio at our facility. The castings are made here in Ohio. So we get the raw castings, we bring them into our facility here in Dayton, and then we machine everything here at our shop here in Dayton. To start with, our casting is an 80,000 PSI ductile cast iron body, and it's a one-piece casting. It's also a solid. It looks like a solid rectangle. And the reason I bring that up, because we do have a competitor out there that their vise body looks more like an I-beam. So they've hollowed out some area along the edges to make it either have less weight to it, or maybe that's the way they got it cast. I don't know. But what that does, it makes ours a little bit beefier. It doesn't flex as much, so you don't get as much lift in the vise body. These are also heat treated. They're ground, and they're flat and parallel within a half a thousandth. So the bed heights that is, are flat and parallel within a half a thousandth. So if you buy one vise today, one vise tomorrow, stack them together, all the vise beds are going to be within a half a thousandths. And that's another one of our selling features versus some of our competitors is the bed heights, the accuracy. This is a 4-inch model. We also make a 6-inch wide and an 8-inch wide. And behind me, I'm showing you here is our, we also do tombstones. They're called tombstones. They're called quads. It's a 4-sided. This happens to be a 6-inch model. We also make those in a 4-inch or 8-inch as well. And then another advantage that we have on ours is the accessories that go with our vise. We do similar to what our competitors do. We are able to use soft jaws, which is not unusual. All of our competitors are able to use soft jaws with their vises. What sets us apart from our competition is the way they go on and off. We have our little wrench here. Just pop the jaws off. This gets, you bolt that down with a socket cap screw. So you take it, I don't have the cap screws right here in front of me, but you go ahead and take them out. You can take the center jaw off. The center jaw repeats within a 1/2 thousandths, and you'll notice I just reversed it. So you can flip it upside down and pop it on. Some of our competitors bolt it in, and that's you can only use 2 sides. With ours, you can take it off, flip it over, and now I can actually use 4 sides of my center jaw. And the same for the outside jaw. This outside jaw has a little pin inside, and that pin fits into this little 45-degree V in our knuckle. So as you put it in, you snap it down. For every pound of force that goes against this jaw, you're creating a 1/2 pound down against the bed of the vise, so that eliminates the majority of any jaw lift. And we have replaced a lot of vices over the years because of that feature itself is the jaw lift. So that's one of the big advantages we have on ours. This one is also reversible. So you can take this jaw off and flip it around. And so now I can actually use both sides of my soft jaw. Some of our competitors out there, once you got your outside jaw on, you can only use the front portion of it. So that's just another one of our advantages.
Hey, you do that one more time. I had the view of the camera that was a little bit off.
Oh, okay. Nick wanted me to redo this jaw.
Yes.
You just take your little wrench, you use a bondless wrench, a screwdriver, pop it off from the back. It's also reversible. Is that good, Nick?
Yep.
All right.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Scott,
Yes.
you might also want to mention that our competitors do not have the hardened pin in the soft jaws. Particularly competitor K, they simply have a machined aluminum that the knuckle locks onto, not a hard pin.
Dan, your volume just went out. I really didn't hear a word you said.
You might want to mention the fact that we're the only ones with hardened pins in our soft jaws.
Perfect.
Oh, what the comment was on our pins, our locating pins here. These are hardened pins. One of our competitors doesn't use pins at all, Dan. One of our competitors just has a machine pocket. They don't even use pins. One of our other competitors do, and it's a totally different setup than what we have. But ours are actually a hardened pin to locate your vise on. One of our competitors on the center jaw, they actually use an expanding screw that goes in. So the only issue with an expanding pin to lock your jaw in is as you're machining, that expanding pin can unloosen, and once it unloosens, their jaw will flip right out. So with ours, once you're using the socketed cap screw and locking it in, if it should happen to get loose, your jaw's not going to fly off the machine. So just another advantage on that. One of the other things that we have too, once you've got the soft jaws, we also have fixture plates. It's aluminum, and we also have steel. And these fixture plates pop right on top of the vise, so now I can put Mighty Bite fixtures on it, your own little fixture. You can do some Piranha vices on here if you want. Take it off, and now it's being used as a pallet changer. And this happens to be one that we've made up. This one actually goes onto the vise, but you'll notice it's also 6 inches wide as opposed to 4 inches wide. So we also have that option as well. But this feature here, we incorporated some of the Mighty Bite clamps. We milled a profile into the fixture plate, so now we can run special parts. You can have as many of these as you want out in the shop. Keep your vise bolted down to your machine and just use this as a pallet changer on and off. Now, if you're not using machinable jaws, well, let me back up a minute. These machinable jaws also come in wide. We have a wide version, which you'll notice, obviously it's a lot wider than the one I just had. And they also come in tall. So you can see the difference in a lot taller than the standard. Those are available. We do have them in steel as well. On the jaw side of things, we do specials. We have done specials throughout the years. If somebody's wanting something special or a special material, it is something we can do. And now if you've got somebody that's not using machinable jaws, and I should back up, the reason you would use a machinable jaw too, Obviously, you can machine a pocket in your machinable jaw so that you can put a mill a profile, so your profile will fit. And eventually, and I'll show you an example of it here in just a little bit. As opposed to the old-fashioned way of just using a step parallel or step jaw, where you're setting a part on a jaw and clamping it. These you can actually mill the profile, because we get asked a lot of time about round parts. Seems like round parts are very popular. People trying to figure out how to fixture them. Well, with these, you just pop your jaws in here. You can mill out your little round profile, stick your round part in, and it'll clamp without the part having to move. So that's one reason you use the machinable jaws. Now, if you're not using machinable jaws, a guy wants to use parallels, we have what we call the AccuSnap system, and we take this carrier jaw, we bolt a steel AccuSnap master jaw to it, and now what that does, it's got a little opening here, and that allows me to use our own parallel system. They come in different heights. They snap in. Take a little bonus wrench here and you pop it out. These repeat within 2/10 parts apart. And snap them back in. We also have machinable ones. The machinable ones are in aluminum or steel. They come in different thicknesses as well. Those snap in. And the reason you would do this, I mean, a lot of people, obviously the machinists on the floor know exactly why you would use those. But what we have found is we have actually had a customer. We have had a customer up in Canton years ago. He had a budget for work holding. It was 10 grand. He saw the vices. We demoed the AccuSnap for him. We saw the different soft jaws or the machinable jaws that would go on his machine. He was doing the numbers. He saw how quick he could change these out and how he could machine a lot of these, put them on his shelf, and his part changeover. He ended up spending about $36,000 total because he was able to show the payback on just using this AccuSnap system in his shop and how quick he could change over and save time on the changeover. This is showing you the thicker jaw where we've milled a pocket in it and put some little Mighty Bite pieces on it so that you can mill up or vise up taller on this if you want. We also have mill angles. They come in different angles and they come in sets, or you buy them individually. They also snap in. Now, I've shown you how they snap in and out, but we also have the center jaw that gets bolted on. And again, use your socketed cap screws to go in here. But these do the exact same thing as the outside jaws, and they go on both ends of them. So now I've outfitted my entire vise, because you would take the exact same jaw as I have here, put it here, and now I've got my entire vise. I can have it set up for first op here and then second op. Excuse me. I can do all the same part, however you want to do that. One thing I want to mention to you when you're looking at this, we always get asked about doing 3 or 4 parts in a jaw. The most you can do in one end of these jaws, you can only do 2 parts. You can only put 2 parts in like that. You can only do 2. And the reason is if you go to put the third one in, most people know that they're not going to be identical thicknesses. There's going to be a little bit of, and when that happens and the vise close on it, one of these parts are going to be loose. So it'll only work with 2. So I can only do 2 per side. Even if you're doing a profile, the jaws are only going to be able to touch 2 points. So just to give you a little idea on that. You can also make this vise a single station vise. So you go ahead and take your jaws off. And we have a single station conversion plate. There's nothing magical about it. We sell them. You can always make your own. But you'll notice there are some tapped holes on the base of the vise. And then there's tapped holes on the back of this jaw. So this actually gets bolted to the back of the vise and then bolted to the back of that jaw. Once that's done, this jaw is now your fixed jaw. And this jaw here is the one that moves back and forth. So the flexibility of a double station vise, I can now do single station work if I got a large piece. You can also do the same thing with quad over here. You can do the exact same thing. And what you do with that is the single station conversion plate gets bolted to the jaw on the bottom of the vise, or bottom of the jaw, and then this jaw will then get bounded to the base of the quad itself, so that this jaw would be the fixed jaw, and then this jaw would be moving up and down for your single station. One of the other vices that we have in our repertoire too, we were asked about doing a smaller footprint type vise. Need to move it around so I can see it. A little more. There you go. And we call this our compact vise. And what we've done with the compact vise is basically we took a 4-inch vise, cut it in half. So this is the fixed jaw or the center jaw, and this is the machinable jaw. And this was really designed to go on some Nikon indexers that they only had 7 inches of room, and the customer that we did them for had all of our jaws all throughout the shop, so they didn't want to have to buy and make all new jaws. So that's why we came out with what we call the compact vise. It's not a self-centering because this jaw is fixed. This jaw moves back and forth in clamps. So it's just a smaller version vise, and this is our 4-inch model. We also have the 6-inch version as well. The other thing that we also have people ask about hydraulics. We do have hydraulics. This one right here is a lay-down hydraulic. Ours are air over oil, so we don't have pneumatic. Or air. We don't have air. This is a hydraulic, air over oil. So basically, you have your pump sitting to the side. You bolt your vices down to the table, and then you just hook up the hydraulic pump to the front of your vise. And what happens when the vise is operated, the jaws open and close virtually at the same time. They really don't, but it goes so fast you can't tell the difference. They open and close very quickly. And this is one version. This can also be adapted to the quad version itself, but you have to have a rotary union on top. So the problem with a rotary union is you've got to get up there and screw it on, engage it, take your parts off, put your parts in, and then engage each station at a time, put the rotary union and take it back off, and then shove that into your machine so it can be machined. So you can tell that, number one, it's ergonomically a pain. It takes a lot of time for changeover. So our other version, which we have, is called a self-contained vise. I don't have one out here to show you. But each segment, each individual segment is operated independently with a self-contained hydraulic cylinder. And basically all you're doing, it's kind of hard to do it, but each cylinder operates each segment of the vise. Basically you're using your socket wrench, and as you're cranking the pressure, there's also a dial, so you can see the pressure get to where it needs to be, and now it's being clamped using hydraulic pressure. And that was actually designed by a particular customer of ours because they could only go to a certain point before they started bending their parts. So they needed to be able to adjust it rather than just a switch turning it on and off. They wanted to be able to do it by hand and by touch using hydraulic pressure, so that you didn't have to have different athletic type people getting that pressure. So that is our other version. Plus, it's already in the vise itself, so when they order a vise like that in the self-contained version, once they get it, there are no pumps, there's no tubing, no anything that they have to do. They bolt it to their machine and they are already ready to go. So that's the other real big advantage to using the self-contained hydraulic as well. The hydraulic and the laydown and the quads are right now only available in the 4 and the 6. We can do the 8s. It just hasn't been requested much, but it is something we can do. But 4 and 6 are the most popular on the hydraulic versions. So now real quick, I just want to show you, we've got it in use here actually at our facility. And if Nick can bring the camera a little bit closer. Basically what we're showing here is we're using our AccuSnap system, and we're using some machinable jaws. It's kind of hard to see, and we've milled pockets in the machinable jaws to actually do some step clamps in this particular, but it's also set up to do other items too. So whenever we're done with this, we can pop these jaws out, put different jaws in with a different profile, and do all the setup in just a matter of minutes versus an hour and a half to get your changeover. And if you're not spending all your time doing changeover, you're making parts, you're making money. So that's the biggest advantage with that. And one of our other fixtures is sitting over here. And this one incorporates our Mighty Bite clamp. Again, we're using a fixture plate on this fixture. We've milled the profile, put the Mighty Bite clamps in, and now we can take this fixture itself. We could actually, the one I just showed you, you can take the jaws off, put this one back on, and you're ready to go. And this happens to be a 2-pallet machine, but the more that you have on the pallets, obviously the more you can increase your productivity. So, and we do have a lot of customers out there, when they buy one, they're buying 2, they're buying 4, 6, and 8 units at a time. So, do we have any questions so far from anybody? Obviously, our biggest competitors are going to be Curt. Obviously, they're the the Kleenex of the industry, as I say. They're the ones that were first to the table out there. Not first, but they're the most popular one out there, just because they're everywhere, and we run into them. But whenever we have our reps that are on the call here today, they have these as a demo kit. Whenever we get out in front of our customer that's looking at Vises and we show them and demo this unit, they see the advantages, and we usually don't lose a sale in that regard. One of our other competitors is Chick. The biggest difference between us and Chick is theirs is an aluminum vise and ours is cast iron. That's really the biggest selling feature between us and them.
Scott, we got a question. What's the length of the 4-inch compact vise?
Oh, this one's right about 7 inches. Right at 7 inches.
Perfect.
The question was how big is this? How long is this vise? It's right at 7 inches. Is there another question there too, Nick?
Scott,
Yeah.
you might also want to mention that Chick does not have the travel that we do, so consequently you have to buy a series of jaws to accommodate different families of parts, which drives the price up.
Yeah, the comment was, if you're competing out there against the Chick vise, Chick has I guess I'll back up, a cover plate, a chip plate, similar to ours. However, ours is a 3-piece telescoping chip guard. So it's this side and this side, when you shut your vise, those telescope together, so you can actually get full closure with our vise. So the comment was made, if you're up against Chick or you got a Chick vise, Chick makes their cover is an actual way cover. It's an actual plate that fits over top. You take the jaws off, put their plate on, but the plate only has just a few inches of movement that the jaws can go. They can't move very far. And so what the problem becomes, if you need to get full closure, the jaws aren't moving far enough to hold the part. So you have to buy a whole nother set of jaws, which will give you full closure. So you're going to be spending a lot more money in jaws on their vises to get some of the smaller parts clamped, if that's what you're looking at. So
we got another question. Any standout advantages for the horizontal towers versus Curt?
One of the questions was, what the big advantage of our towers versus the Curt tower. Quite frankly, we all have the same mounting. We can all mount the same machines. We got the 400, 500, 600 millimeter base plates to be able to mount to the machines. The sizes are virtually the same. The biggest advantage we have is the accessories that we have to go on our vise versus what Curt has. The way the jaws go on and off, it makes it much more easy to get the jaws on and off on our setup than it does theirs. And as far as our AccuSnap system, those are really the big selling points. If you're just comparing the actual tombstone itself versus the Curt, they're virtually the same size, so that's not a big deal. They're made out of the same material, so it's really the accessories that we have to go along with that, and also the specials that we can do. We do some specials. We actually have a short quad that we have in our catalog that's a standard, which is a special for them. It's a 4-inch model, but it's also a shorter quad without a base plate, and it was really designed to go into a particular Kitamura machine. But we've had so much interest in smaller quads like that, or shorter quads I should say, we put it in as a standard, and we do have those on the shelf for people that need to have a shorter quad, and it is a special for anybody else. The one thing I didn't mention too, one thing that's really been popular with us is you got a vertical machining center, but they want to use one of these vices. Well, what do? Well, the vertical machining centers will have an indexer on it. So basically you're taking this machine pallet and you're tipping it up on its side, and you bolt our vise on its side to the indexer, and now the indexer will rotate this way instead of this way. So now I've got a 4-sided vise on a vertical milling machine. and we have done those as an actual standalone turnkey where we make the subplate, we mount the indexer onto the subplate, we mount the vise, get it in, and then we ship it to our customer, and then when they take it out of the box, they can put it right onto their machine and they're good to go. So that has been popular over the years for us to do that for quite a few customers. In fact, if any of you were by our booth at IMTS a couple years ago, we had one of those in our booth on display too, the indexing unit. So, any other questions? Well, I want to thank you guys for attending. We will be running some promotions on our vices and accessories.